So what's the feeling this year going into this compared to last year? Just overall, having gone through it 12 months ago.
Yeah, obviously just a little bit more comfortable, know what to expect. Said it after Game 5, it just feels less emotional. It's been less of a roller coaster, I would say. Just the whole thing feels more normal, which is a good thing.
Connor, given your experience last year in this position, do you find Stanley Cup Final games a little bit more draining, whether it be emotionally, physically, whatever it may be? How do you kind of combat that? How do you make sure that you're good to go from the next game?
I mean, winning in the playoffs takes everything you got. Obviously, we're here in the last series. It takes even more. So, yeah, they can be draining physically and emotionally, but it's supposed to be. It's that way for both teams. Your question was, how do you get ready? Everyone takes care of themselves. Everybody is expected to be in this position. We've been preparing for this all year long, whether that's through practice or games or whatever it is. We're prepared to be here. That won't be an issue.
What was the biggest lesson you took away from last year's final game?
I would say it's just dealing with the emotion of it. Just because you feel closer, there's a big circus. It can feel like it's larger than it is. At the end of the day, it's another series, and we're playing another great team, and you got to beat them before anything else happens. So they have our complete focus. All of our energy is in going into beating the Florida Panthers. There should be nothing else on anyone's mind.
Do you like the fact that it's going to be the same thing? Normally the Panthers play 7 games against Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I think there's familiarity there. We know what to expect from their game. I think they know what to expect from ours. They're an aggressive, in-your-face, quick team. We played a team like that in LA, I would say. So, there's a little bit of that familiarity there. Obviously, they're the champs. It's their third final in 3 years. They're a great team. You can't say enough good things. So, as I said, they have our complete focus. It's going to be a great challenge, and we're excited about it.
You and Leon have been trying to do a Stanley Cup now for 10 years. To go through this process to be in the Cup final for a second year in a row with him, what does that mean to have a guy like him, with you through this whole thing?
I think all the core guys have been at this together for a long time. I think it has to be that way. We've showed a great deal of commitment to each other, to the organization, to the city. And it's brought us to this point again. Just another kick at the can. We're obviously excited about that. It's great to be doing that with your brothers, the guys that you've been with all along. So, yeah, excited.
Last year in the handshake line, Chuck was able to see again next year, some of that effect. I know it's something that maybe gets in the moment a lot, but was there any doubt in your mind that this is where you'd be again this year? Were those
Obviously there's a lot of turnover from year to year. We had a lot of turnover. Is there any doubt? I don't know if we think about it that way. It takes a lot to get back here. Obviously they know that. We know that. It takes a lot. You got to play a lot of good hockey. You got to have a lot of bounces go your way. You got to make your own luck in a lot of ways as well. So I would say, is there doubt? I don't know. We've always been preparing to be in this moment. We're comfortable here, comfortable playing in big games. We've showed that all along. So, yeah.
I don't know if you buy into the notion of you need to lose before you can win. That applies to, guys of your stature, whether it's Crosby or even Wayne Gretzky have done that. What do you think about that? Trying to, lose and then something you learned can help you second go round.
If you asked me this question last year, I'd probably say no. Now that we've lost, I'll say yeah. Of course, you got to lose before you win. Yeah, I don't know. I think you hear everybody say it. Just keep giving yourselves opportunities to be in this position. keep giving yourself chances to win, and eventually it happens. We've done that. We've put ourselves in another good spot. Learned a lot of lessons last year in that month that we can use this year.
We all know your relationship with Sid, how much you admire him. Do you remember that first cup that he got, and then that famous ad, and then him winning? The one where he said that I never want to be in this picture again. Does that resonate with you?
I don't remember the commercial, but obviously I remember the cup. I remember him losing the year before and going back and playing the same team, and I see obviously the parallels that everyone wants to write about. At the end of the day, this is a different story, different teams, different group. Just excited to have another kick at the can here. That's all.
Corey Perry comes in last year with you guys. I mean, what does he mean to this group on off the ice for a guy who's still doing it at his age?
Yeah, it means a lot to the group. Just a calming presence, calming in the room. Makes great subtle little plays on the ice. I said it before. His gamesmanship, just kind of understands the ebbs and flows of the games, the kind of the intricacies that not every fan sitting at home understands. He's played in every big game. He's won. He's done all that. He means a lot in our room, and he's still playing at such a high level. It's fun to see.
Connor, just going back to the regular season, a lot of people from the outside of this group were talking about how this team needs a little bit more of a stay-at-home defender, or something similar to that build, and then Stan Bowman goes out and gets Wallman and gets Klingberg. Can you maybe talk about how much those two players from the rest of the additions have changed the complexion of this team compared to last year? How much quicker you guys are able to play?
I think D-men are so important. And every time that this group has gone out and added a D-man, it's really taken our group to the next level. I think about a couple of years ago we had Kulak and what that did for our group. Bushi taking a step has done wonders for our group. We go out and get Ekholm, and all of a sudden we're in the conference final, or whatever. And Wallman's just been the same way, and Klingberg stepping in has been so big for our group, obviously with Eki going down early. So D-men are so important, and obviously we've got a bunch of really good ones, and helps a lot.
You mentioned Bouchard. Have you ever seen somebody play as composed as Bouchard? Titus, I mean, he doesn't get fazed by anything.
No, Bushi is amazing that way. Nothing phases him. Big games, big moments. Makes a mistake, nothing rattles him. It's amazing to see. He's really elevated his game as well. I think more so in his own zone has been fantastic. He's been on the kill, been doing what he does. He's great.
Connor, I just wondering if there's something off in your skates today. It looked like you were uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. Just a fun game Langer and I like to play. Just working through some skate stuff, trying to find the right pair. Yeah.
Connor, when you get everybody knows what's at stake. You did it last year, does your appreciation for what's at stake change now that you're back there and you're that close?
What do you mean?
You know what it is, but you've been through it now.
Yeah.
So, do you have an appreciation for where you're at? Is it different?
It's different in the sense that it feels less big. Last year felt, monumental, felt very dramatic. This year feels very normal. So I would say that feels different that way.
To that end, talking to Doug Armstrong the other day, he was saying that between that, you going through what you did last year, I know I mentioned this in Dallas, but then the high of the four nations, according to him, he says, now there's nothing that can happen in the next 2 weeks that will surprise you. You've been through the highs and the lows. Is that accurate?
For sure. And just the comfort of knowing that, you've played in the biggest game there is to play, maybe an Olympic final, Four Nations final, Stanley Cup Game 7. I mean, those are the biggest of the big games. This group obviously has played in one of those games. Came out on the wrong side, but just having gone through that, I think we're better for it. As I said, just more comfortable. I'm sure everybody says that that's kind of gone through it the second time. It's just more normal, comfortable, easier to play and function when it's just another day.
What ways are you better now than you were this time last year? I don't mean the experience. I mean
Yeah,
the style.
yeah. I think just another year having played our system, you're just a little bit more comfortable. The reads are a little bit quicker, knowing where the breakdowns are, knowing where to help. I think you see that in the D zone. You know, if there's a breakdown, there's usually somebody that is there to help. You know, I think we've been really good in our own zone and systematically, I would say we've been really solid.
Transition to D, that's what's the additions you made to make it. The idea of getting the puck up to them. You guys maybe a little bit expert in that.
I'd say for sure. You know, my answer to the previous question is just how important DER. You know, I don't think they get enough love for how hard it is to go back and break pucks out and move pucks up the ice and, you know, block shots and do all the things that are really, really hard and maybe not as sexy as scoring a big goal, but just equally as important. And I think our D-men do an amazing job of that. You know, they're simple, go back, break pucks out, defend hard. They're great back there.
Think of you as this lifelong pursuit of the Stanley Cup. I don't know if that's true. Like, when did it start for you? When did you first, see the cup and think, I'm going to win that thing one day? Was there a moment? Was there a cup that you watched? Is that accurate? That's part of it.
Well, yeah, I think as a kid growing up, you have such an appreciation for seeing teams that win and seeing the cup brought out and obviously seeing Sid win. Growing up being a Sid fan, that was pretty cool to see. There's steps to everything, and when you're a kid, you want to just play in the NHL. When you're a kid, and then you want to be successful and do all these great things, and then there comes a point where it's only about winning. And I think this group hit that point years and years ago, and we've been on the so you want to say if it's a lifelong thing, I don't know about that, but it's for sure been a few years here with this core, and we're looking to finish the job.